Hi everyone, and welcome to this video in which you will see coverage of the Penny Dreadful Season 40 Kickoff Top 8. So there were some issues when I recorded this video, mainly during parts of the video where it looks like I'm talking to myself. I was actually talking to someone else, Violet Avi, through the Discord, but I forgot to capture my computer's output audio, so yeah, that's why it will sound a bit weird. But I did not forget to eventually cut them in. So during the most important part of the video, which will be the end of, after the tournament, we discussed the top 8 deck lists. You will hear their voice then. But yeah, also audio levels might be a bit all over the place because I kind of forgot to tune them beforehand. But yeah, anyways, enjoy the video. Alright, I think this should be working now. So what am I watching? Okay, I'm seeing Magnus on likely Grixis Fires of Invention with the time warp loops and stuff, versus Final Defiance likely on the Party Thrasher tempo play stuff from exile ish deck. It's turn 5. And Magnus has a Fire of Invention and a rare, but Final Defiance does have a thing in the ice. Okay, and Iroh's demonstration gets countered, so Thing in the Ice will not die. And yeah. So there is a clutch of the Undercity in the Grave, so likely Magnus did tutor for the First Invention. Or the Ral, could be. Oh, and I think this is game 3, but I'm not sure. Yeah, this is game 3. So Final Defense up a lot of cards due to the Ancestral Vision. So the players are taking it slow, but I guess there are a lot of options to consider here. I don't really know the ins and outs of the Final Defiance deck. I think it plays like the new Spider-Man 2099 to like deal damage in the end step or something. But it did win like the last tournament before the kickoff, I think. All right, and yeah, well, this is Spider-Man. Haris. Well, yeah. Obviously, we only have the Omen Path versions. And that is a pretty nice combo with a Reckless Charge. Oh. Okay, drawing a lot of cards here. And a time warp. So Magnus is potentially back in the game. So from my experience playing against the new version of this Fires of Invention deck, they can chain extra turns pretty reliably. So I don't know what Magnus has in his hand, obviously, on their hand, but it might be like the thing that lets you recast Time Warps from the grave. It might be the Sever the Moments. So okay, for now we're just removing the Spider-Man card and playing a Search for Escanta. Okay. I guess there's not much pressure on the board, although there is a Reckless Charge in the grave that can potentially give another Uharis haste and a buff. Okay, Final Defiance, not doing a lot. Didn't even play a land if I see that correctly. Probably because they don't have it. Ooh, Mastermind's Acquisition. So Magnus is getting something from their sideboard. I think it won't actually be revealed what they get, like just when they play the card. Magnus gets a Fact or Fiction from the Escanta. So far it's looking pretty good for Magnus, but I don't doubt that Final Defiance can potentially swing back with like the Uharis and the Reckless Charge or something like that. So certainly not decided yet, but it does look pretty good for Magnus. And we see a Nezahal that can't be countered, and it's pretty hard to remove. Kind of cool to see such a card be played in an actual constructed format, because I know it mainly as a commander card, but I guess it can be good against like control decks or like decks with counter spells. Oh, but invert polarity does work, at least if they win the flip. Yeah, that does work. So now Final Defiance has a Nezahal. Pretty big of a game-changing action here. And I think that should be lethal, right? Yeah, so they did turn the game around pretty quickly. Of course, if they had lost the flip of the invert polarity, then it would have begun quite differently, perhaps. But Final Defense wins the game, is in the semifinals now. And I think there's, yeah, that was all the quarterfinal matches. So now we wait for the semifinals. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna watch Joshua versus Endbot. Gonna make sure the recording works and the Discord stream. All right, so Joshua I think is on Timur Battlecry combo, and Endbot is on the same deck, so I think it's a mirror actually. So we will see Timur Battlecry in the finals. Alright, so pretty identical starts here except from the mana. Birds of Paradise and Fanatic of Rhonos on both sides. Oh, and I think Joshua is trying to combo off already, and well, they have 5 mana. Yeah, I think they can get the Kijiki and win. For the turn 3 win. That was fast. Yep, they got it. So, like Endbot says, it was indeed the play draw difference, apparently. Pretty crazy. But there's still game 2 and potentially game 3, so nothing is decided yet. Alright, the players should be done sideboarding soon. I hope it's not my MTGO bugging out, at least. Okay, no. The second game is starting right now. Let's see if this time Endbot can do the turn 3 win. Alright, we're starting with an Elvish Mystic. Good precondition for an early win. Oh, and we're attacking with the Elvish Mystic, potentially looking for a trade. Very interesting, but likely just, yeah, I don't know, bait for, because they don't have anything better to do with the mana or something. Alright, so Joshua got Fanatic of Rhonas again. Also good prerequisite for a turn 3 win, or like a turn 4 win. But let's see. Oh, Flame Tongue Kavu, that probably came out the sideboard. Does cleanly kill the Fanatic of Rhonas and activate the Outcasters and the Battlecryers. Alright, so Joshua eternalizes the Fanatic of Rhonas. Can potentially make 4 more mana next turn. But now there's also a Fanatic of Rhonas on the other side of the game. And it looks like we're Call of Calling, or, well, yeah, Nature's Rhythm for 2. So is that... Oh, okay, just to remove the Fanatic. Yeah, there wasn't a way to... Since the Fanatic has Summoning Sickness, there wasn't a way to win here, I guess. So not sure what Joshua would need here to make a comeback. I guess this is a good start. A pretty good start even, but... Well... Yeah, okay, with the Fanatic gun, I don't think there's a way for Endbot to win with the Nature's Rhythm alone. They can probably get a big creature though. hand sizes are getting pretty low as well, though. So Endbot doesn't have a single card in their hand, but they do have the Nature System in the grave. So Nature System for 6, getting a Woodland Bellower. So I'm not sure about what exactly that can get. It could obviously get like a Fnatic, it could get the clone thing, or the Outcaster Trailblazer, of course, yeah. Which doesn't do a lot right now, but it will let Endbot draw some cards if they draw enough creatures, or if they like unearth or like eternalize the Fnatic of Rhonas. So Joshua still has 3 cards in hand, but apparently no game-winning thing, or no. Yeah, well, we're gonna see what they play. So that looks like Court of Calling. Yep, Court of Calling for 5, likely for a Kikijigi, I would assume. And then probably, yeah, copying that to draw a card and kill probably the Outcaster, yeah. So that Endbot can't draw any cards with it. Oh, Nature's Rhythm for 5. That should be game winning, yeah. Now they got the Kikijiki combo. So that is a 2-0. So, as expected, Outcaster Trailblazer, Timur Battlecry combo in the finals. But I think there's still one other match ongoing. Well, the other match. Alright. So it is the Allies/Humans deck versus the tempo-y play stuff from exile, play stuff from the graveyard, Uhara's deck. Final Defiance notably on 7 life, so pretty low. But their opponent is totally out of cards in hand. And I think there's an Ancestral Vision suspended, so next turn that will be able to be played. And Party Thrasher exiles 2 lands. Yeah, Uharis notably does have Double Strike and Vigilance. So Final Fans can attack with it and not have it be tapped. So 2 damage are apparently gonna get through. Unless the humans player has any more aces up their sleeve. So the Warden of the Inner Sky is gonna die from the double strike damage. 2 damage is gonna get through. Let's see what the Party Thrasher exiles. If, yeah, well, I assume Final Fantasy is going to use the ability. Ooh, Finale of Promise and a Lindblum. So that could be pretty good. Well, I don't think it's lethal yet, but it's it could advance Final Defense quite a bit. Oh wait, I forgot that Party Thrasher. Ah, okay, yeah. You do have to choose one of the exiled cards and play that, otherwise it would probably be too strong, but yeah, that is relevant here. And apparently the Final Defense chose the land. Kind of curious about that, because Finale of Promise would have been able to draw them 3 more cards, I think, but yeah, I guess it makes sense in some way. Also, they did play two spells, so the Brutal Cathar turns back and gets to exile something. So Thalia is being played and hits the battlefield, although a bit late perhaps on turn 8. and a Burst Lightning on the Brutal Cathar to get the Spider Human hero back. So the humans player does go down to 4 life. Both life totals pretty low at this point, but the board is definitely favored for Final Defiance. Actually, what game even is this? Okay, Final Defiance is up 1 game. Alright, and Final Defiance refreshes their hand with a Dig Through Time. Although even a kicked Burst Lightning would be lethal here. Yep, and there goes the Burst Lightning kicked. So that should put Final Defiance in the finals. Yep, they won 2-0. So the finals are going to be Timur Battlecry combo, or like, yeah, well, it is a combo deck, versus is it Tempo with the Uharis, the Spider-Man 2099. Alright, so I am excited to see what deck will come out on top. Kind of cool to see that the Battlecry deck that a lot of people just thought was worse than Nadu did put 2 decks in the top 4. And the other deck in the finals, the Is a Tempo deck, is quite inventive as well. Plays some cards that were just legal this season, like the Spider-Man 2099 and Finale of Promise. I guess also wasn't playable at the start of the season due to the the absence of Spider-Man cards in the legality card file or something like that. But yeah, pretty cool to see some new inventions being shown at the kickoff. And for Nadu to not dominate like some people predicted. Alright, so I think the game just started. Yep. Gonna set up the Discord stream as well. Alright. So Final Defiance will be on the play. But Joshua also is going to go down to 4 cards in hand. So the Battlecry deck can probably redraw a lot of cards with the Trailblazer, but obviously a Mal to 4 is never a good sign. So two 1/4s are staring at each other. The Party Thrasher versus the Fanatic of Ronus. One gives a lot of mana, the other gives potentially a lot of card advantage. But can also kind of generate mana because it gives non-creature spells Convoke in exile. But yeah. So Joshua opting to play a Timur Battlecry does turn on the Fanatic of Ronus and a Trailblazer. But it gets Burst Lightninged on ETB. Oh, and oh yeah, okay, the mana is not going to be used here. Joshua also notably no cards in hand left. And no Trailblazer on the board anymore, so drawing hearts is going to be hard for them. But I mean, you just gotta top deck like a Nature's Whim and you're back in the game, so. And the Battlecry even gets Chain Lightninged. So Final Defense does have the board under control pretty well, I'd say. So a Misium Mortars and a Party Thrasher in exile. The Misium Mortars got chosen as a card to be played until end of turn. Probably gonna hit the Fnatic, would be my guess. Although getting back the Fnatic from the grave does could bring Joshua some more value, but yeah, having it on the field obviously better in some way. And we see a Finale of Promise on a Burst Lighting in the See the Truth. So I'm not sure what the purpose of the Burst Lighting was, if it went to the Corda monitor. Oh, and we see a kicked Burst Lightning on the Battle Crier. So pretty tough for Joshua to come back here, I guess. Attacking with the 1-force just to get a bit of chip damage in. I don't think it's going to matter here in this game, but better than nothing, I suppose. So once again, Mizzy Mortars got chosen as a card to be cast. Interestingly, removing the corridor monitor, likely to prevent potential Kiki-Jiki shenanigans. So the game is looking pretty good in Final Defiance favor. They probably also have a bunch of counter spells, or at least an invert polarity in hand to potentially counter nature through them. And even more so after casting a Dig Through Time. for just 2 mana. So finally fans got a Reckless Charge in exile that they can play. But they firstly opt for a finale of Promise to draw some cards and kill one of the birds. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good card. Especially in a deck with both Ancestral Vision and See the Truth. And we finally see the Spider-Human Hero enter the board. Ah, yeah, right. They would have been 1 mana short of the invert polarity if they did so. But I mean, there's also not much pressure from Josha's side, so I think Final fans can afford to take it a bit slow and accrue value and keep open counterspell mana. Okay, very interesting. Final fans did choose the Burst Lightning and the land, I think. Yeah, for sure. Also, I think the Izzet deck only plays Invert Polarity as a counter spell, if I remember correctly. So they do kind of have to be afraid of like multiple natures within getting cast like after each other and over multiple turns. But well, Joshua has been out of gas for quite a few turns, so gonna be hard for them to come back here. Yeah, it is game 1, I think. Yeah, it is game 1. And it has been going on for a bit, so yeah. Yeah, right, and it would have also done some damage in the end step, but yeah. This deck is pretty sick, there's a deck. Like, Yeah, that is pretty funny. Yeah, I guess that's the downside of invert polarity. Sometimes you don't want the card that you try to counter. Yeah, or Living End, or Damnation, or, well, the list goes on and on. But I mean, it also did win Final Defiance the game last round against, I think it was, I don't know, I don't remember who it was, but they played the Nezahal and it got invert polarities and that won them the game. So, yeah. Invert polarity is a hell of a drug, I guess. Yeah. Well, I mean, invert polarity does literally nothing against it 50% of the time. But the other 50% of the time, it's game winning. Okay, so the players are done sideboarding. Joshua will be on the play, I assume. Starts with Forest and Elvish Mystic. Oh, and the mana dork gets bolted, even if it wasn't a bird. Oh, Spell's Guide. Yeah, I mean, I guess the Spell's Guide does blank most of the removal from Final Defiance, besides Mizzy Mortars, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ancestral Recall is a pretty good card, so makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Oh wait, you. Oh, you can't see it. Oh yeah, then it's because I only stream the one MTGO window, but I can change it. Um. Okay, now you should be able to also see the exile. Well, I mean, yeah, sure, that makes a lot of sense actually, because even if it got burst lightnings in response to the ETB trigger, Joshua could still just make a lot of mana and potentially cast something. But most likely they just don't have anything in hand that would be worth casting. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the point of Spell's Guide, right? That it eats removal that would otherwise go to the Fanatic of Ronus, for example. Yeah, that is true. So the Dust Let Final Defiance deal 2 damage with the Spider-Man card at the end step, but still kind of risky to not hold up mana for Invert Polarity or even, yeah, well. Okay, yeah, this way it works, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then potentially they could play like one of the clone things, cloning a Trailblazer or something. Like, there's a lot of things that could happen here, but Joshua only has 2 cards in hand, and we don't know what they are. Could be anything, but could be nothing as well. But we're gonna find out. Hmm. Yeah, I gotta say, like, considering that a lot of Nadu got played at this tournament, and a lot of people were expecting Nadu, the finals are both really cool decks. Like, the Izzet deck is obviously incredible. It's really new and shiny, but also seems to be very strong. And the Battlecry deck also, with the Trailblazer, got a pretty good new toy. I don't want to be that guy, but I did play this deck before it got cool. But yeah. Yeah, I play a lot of experimental stuff, I would say. Yeah, but the problem is I play experimental stuff and I do terrible with it most of the time. But you also play cool combo decks, but you do great with them. You win tournaments. I think I haven't won a tournament in like a few seasons. But it's fine. Yeah, that is certainly true. Yeah, I mean, it did end up being the case that Joshua did have the two best cards in hand when they needed them. So, I mean, on the other hand, the Uharis, like the Spider-Man card, can kill some stuff in at every end step. So, like, I'm not sure if Joshua is going to be able to convert the momentum like in their favor. But yeah, yeah, exactly. hmm Exactly. So, and Final Defiance lets it through. So the Uharis probably has more value for them if they continue sniping down things in the end step and having something to block other creatures with potentially. Yeah, I mean, this it pretty cleanly clears the board, at least on one side. Well, that's another way to do it. Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't think Final Defiance can like see this game as won already, but their chances are pretty good of winning this game. And once again, we're seeing the Uharis do a lot of work. So maybe there are some good Spider-Man cards after all, besides the pictures of Spider-Man.
We know they have an invert polarity in their hand, I think, from the Factor Fiction. Okay, the flash freeze, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need 3 mana if you have a 2 mana counterspell. Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna disagree with you a little bit here, Tom. I think this game is over. Like,
yeah, I mean, Finally Finds. I'm not sure if we saw another invert polarity in like from the Factor Fiction, but I think the chances are like very good. So I don't really see how Joshua could turn this around, but yeah.
yeah, I think the only possible out here would be Final Defiance playing 2 more non-basic lands and Joshua somehow having Brace of Progress. Then they get to draw and go to a game 3.
Yeah, but I kind of doubt that the Timur deck is playing Price of Progress, but I mean, you never know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, Thing in the Ice coming down here. I mean, Final Defiance has lethal on board. Likely, I mean, only 3 cards left in hand for Final Defiance here, so and it could take another turn or two to actually close out the game. But Thing in the Ice is good insurance. If you just cast 4 spells, it doesn't matter what Joshua plays on their next turn. The 7 damage is coming in, and that will be lethal.
Indeed. So Joshua likely playing their last card of the match, if it isn't something incredible.
I mean, maybe it's a Nezahal.
Yeah, could be. But wait, does it work out with the mana?
Yes, just enough. But
Yeah,
the
that
way
would be
the cost
possible.
paying is working, I think this is more likely to be a Nature's Rhythm.
Ah, right. Yep, and it gets inverted.
Yes, I would like another Party Thrasher, thank you very much. Although I suppose it is possible that Final Defiance does not have a counterspell. Whoa, wait. Oh, there maybe was a little bit of lag on the Discord side.
Oh, okay.
I assume that got countered?
Yeah, the nature system got countered. Like,
Okay.
yeah, properly countered.
Yes.
So Joshua has one
And
more turn.
yeah, and one kind of important aspect of these teamer decks is okay, they are playing a lot of pain lands. So once you get to 2 or 1 life, it becomes quite difficult to cast your spells, especially if you're trying to cast multiple in a single turn.
Yeah, and especially since they often need like quadruple green mana for like Nature's Rhythm from the graveyard. So they often need to take the damage. Okay, and that's a 2-0 for Final Defiance. So GG's to the finalists. Is it
Yeah,
takes it
for
down?
sure. So I do have access to all the deck lists. If you want, we can go through the top 8 decks and just do a quick breakdown of what each of the decks are?
Yeah, sure, we can do that. Even if it is a bit late, but I still got a bit of energy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna close the stream. Uh,
Okay, I'm sharing my screen, but I have never streamed over Discord. Is this
well, it's working.
okay? Cool. So let's go take a look at Final Defiance's deck. And I mean, I think we got a pretty good showing of that earlier. Ah, perfect. They're all arranged like this. What a name.
Oh yeah. I see.
Full belief in the power of invert polarity on display here. Interesting that there's 4 Spider-Man 2099s. This is the Uharis that we were seeing earlier. Also 4 Party Thrashers. These do play quite well together, because Party Thrasher finds you spells to cast. Spider-Man then murders things when you cast your spells.
Yeah, so I think for Party Thrashers is pretty, like, there's no reason not to play them in this kind of deck, but the Spider-Man can be pretty clunky to, like, you can't play it in the first 3 turns, and I think there's no way to cheat it out either. So it could get stuck in you could get stuck with multiple in your hands, but I guess we saw how strong it can be.
For sure. And, if you have multiple Spider-Man in your hand, you can always just throw a party.
Right.
I am interesting. Like, the one-ofs in here are quite interesting to me. Like, abandon attachments, I guess, is another way to get rid of extra Spider-Man. Octopus form, pretty interesting. This, I think, gives hexproof, untaps, and gives +1/+1.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, cool. And so we can go take a look at Rhythm Battle Crier. Tom, since you were playing this before, it was cool. You want to give us a quick rundown?
Well, I didn't play this exact version with now that it has the Outcaster Trailblazer, so I do think it plays quite differently now. I think essentially it's pretty similar to the Lumbers Twin deck from like a few seasons ago. So I think one of the main ways to win is with Kikijiki plus Hyrex Tower Scout or the other Untapper. I think they don't play it actually, right? Oh yeah,
Oh,
they
it's
do.
here.
Corridor Monitor. There it is. So that's one way to win, but you can also just flood the board with like Trailblazers and the namesake Battle Criers, which then reduce the cost of everything so you can play more stuff. And yeah, the deck also plays 8 tutors, with Nature's Rhythm being able to tutor twice. So yeah, also quite a strong deck. 2 copies in the top 4. So yeah, what's your opinion on this deck?
I think it's quite strong. I am curious to see if the Battle Crier is going to stick around. Like, I like that if you go Fanatic of Ronus, Battle Crier, Nature's Rhythm, you do just kill people with Kiki-Jiki.
Yeah.
It did look a little clunky in those games in that it was mostly a 4 mana 4/3. Like, the discount did not end up mattering a whole lot. And that said, that was also a game where, and that was also a fairly low resource game where the control deck was just continuously stripping the creatures that were in play. So I would be curious to see if there's maybe a version that's running something else in the Battle Crier slot. I think Trailblazer is going to be quite powerful. Like the second effect where you draw a card whenever you have a big thing enter, uh, quite strong.
Yeah, for sure. I think there were some people who did try out like a non-battle crier Trailblazer deck. I didn't look at the list in specific, but I think people are experimenting with that kind of list.
For
But we'll
sure.
see how the season evolves.
Cool. All right, let's go take a look at 3 and 4. Human allies, huh?
Yeah, I played against this and lost. I think it was my only loss in the Swiss rounds. So I think it plays allies and humans.
That's a good combination. How to free. So the humans deck always wants to lead on Champion of the Parish, ideally multiple Champion of the Parish. So it. Oh, actually, I also played against this deck and lost to it. So we got 2 veterans. uh, How to free blade is kind of sort of another Champion of the Parish. Regardless, it's a neat take on the deck. Leveraging invasion reinforcements, which is the new avatar card that makes
Yeah.
it's a 2 mana 1/1 that makes another 1/1. Notably, the ally token is not a human. So only the original card will trigger the Champion of the Parish. But still reasonably on rate. Kind of neat to see a little bit of here we are. To see a little bit of innovation in the mono white humans list. Like this deck has been around for I think 6, 7, 8, maybe even 8 seasons in its current form. And so, we got Kazandu Blade Master too as more effective copies of Champion of the Parish.
Does that? I forgot already what that does. It's basically champion, but also it has some
For
free
Strike and
verdicts, right?
Vigilance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Neat.
right.
Sideboard's pretty interesting. I wonder what the Boromir is for. I mean, it was pretty good against my Heartless Summoning deck, like it demanded an answer.
Yeah, I mean your deck got
Mm.
pretty popular, so kind of
Yeah.
makes sense. But it also counters like Living End, I suppose, and like it kind of also like some incidental cards like Ancestral Visions and stuff like that also get countered. But yeah, I mean Boromir traditionally always kind of a solid card against a variety of things. We also have a Profane Tutor from the Mono Black control deck, which I think wasn't really played this tournament, but it looked kind of good when I lost against it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
so I
All
think
right.
the other deck in top 4 is also the Timur deck.
Slightly different in that they have 4 Phantasmal Image, and they're going much harder into the Woodland Bellower plan.
Oh right. So the idea is you play the
Interesting.
Bellower and then you wait, but
You can't get the
yeah,
image
right, you
with the
can't.
Bellower. Unless, of course, you play
Paint to
a
Servant.
exactly. It's on my list. Yeah, overall very similar.
Yeah, I mean it also plays the Tutors, the Battle Criers, the Trailblazers, so yeah.
Mhm. Okay, and then on to 5 through 8. This fire is out of control, huh? Oh yeah, another really fun deck that is new this season, effectively because we got Time Warp. Grixis Turns. The goal is you cast a Fires of Invention, you cast an extra turn spell like Savor the Movement, and then you go find a Kess Dissident Mage, which lets you flashback all of your spells from the graveyard. Most of your combo pieces are 4 mana, so you play Clutch of the Undercity. 3 mana tutor for whatever you need.
Yeah, so notably
Pretty fun.
this version does not play green. I saw some 4-color versions that play green for the at least the like the ramp effect on 2. but I guess this version is probably more streamlined. And yeah, I mean, there were some similar versions a few seasons ago, but they only had the 3 mana time warp thing. Yeah, sever the moment. But time warp as like a clean extra turn spell that doesn't exile itself or anything probably took the deck to another level.
For sure. Also, I think Iroh's demonstration, kind of a sweeper card from the Avatar set, like we saw in that game against or with Final Defiance. 4 damage is a pretty big breakpoint. Like it kills Fanatic of Ronus, it kills basically everything that the Battle Crier deck plays dies to an Iroh's demonstration.
Yeah, well, at least the important cards, like not the Bellower and not the like the Beasts thingy, but I mean those don't matter that much in most matchups. But I guess the 1 damage mode is also would have been relevant against Nadu. We didn't see Nadu in the top 8, but when they play a bunch of dorks and birds, you can just cleanly sweep them away.
Yeah, it is crazy that 8 Nadu decks entered, none made top 8.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. This is
Yeah, I
a
think
deck
you
that I
can
worked
tell
on
us
a
something
bit.
about that one, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the first non-Nadu tournament win of this season was me piloting this Flare deck wins deck. It's very fun. The theory behind the meta, this as a deck of choice, is that there's going to be a lot of people playing 3-color piles. There's going to be a lot of non-basic lands, so Price of Progress is very good. You know what's better than 1 Price of Progress? 2 Price of Progress. So Flare of Duplication lets you sacrifice a non-token red creature to copy one of your instants or sorceries. And so we've got a couple of other things that are good to copy, like Brimstone Volley, 3 mana, 5 damage, Force of Rage, 3 mana, 6 damage, it makes 2 3/1 elemental creature tokens. But for this tournament in particular, I think the Price of Progress was well positioned. And then, in addition to that Flare of Duplication package, you also just have good, solid on-rate creatures like Stadium Headliner, which is 2 power for 1 mana, and Valkenrath Pitfighter, Feldon, which is a 2 mana, 2/2 haste, Bloodfeather Phoenix comes back. Yeah, I think probably a card to look for going forward is Rampaging Ferocidon. Is pretty good against most of the combo decks in the meta. Like, it's good against Kiki if you can back it up with some pressure.
Right.
It's good against Nadu because they can't Nintoko, essentially. It's good against the Heartless Summoning deck because all of their loops involve a creature entering. I think that this is a good sideboard card in red aggressive decks.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Flame Javelin, pretty interesting too.
Yeah,
You
I
know how
guess.
much? 4 damage.
Yeah, I guess it's worse than the Brimstone Valley, but still, actually playing it in the sideboard is kind of interesting.
I know what this is. So I used to play Char in this slot, which is 3 mana, deal 4 damage to anything, and it deals 2 damage to you. Mono red deck, and Flame Javelin is a strict upgrade.
Ah, okay.
And
But why are we playing
kind
it
of
in
the
the
thing.
sideboard? Like, is there any specific matchups where you want this kind of effect more than in others?
Yes. So it's for the counterspell decks, essentially. Flare of Duplication does get owned by counterspells. And so what you want to do against things like blue-red control or Nadu is you want to side out your Force of Rages and side in just straight up burn spells. because Force of Rage is really bad. You gotta cast it in your pre-combat main phase. You gotta tap out for it, and they counterspell it. They know exactly what to do for the rest of your turn. Having an instant to play against the instant speed decks is important.
Okay, that does make sense.
Cool. Right. So then, well, I don't know if anybody could tell us more about this mono blue turbo Emrakul deck.
Yeah, well, I think I'm not going to talk too much about it since I did record my run of the tournament, and I did also talk about a bit about it in the beginning. But basically, the idea is it's mono blue slash like blue and colorless, and it doesn't run a single island. All the lands make colorless mana and blue mana. So it's a lot of pain lands, filter lands, and like rainbow lands. And that means that you can potentially cast Emrakul on turn 4 if you get like either with Reenact the Crime. If you discard Emrakul and then you reenact the crime, then you get to cast Emrakul, meaning you also get the cast trigger. And you can also turn 3 Whir of Invention for a Soul Talisman. Then you have 6 mana on turn 4 potentially, and can cast an Emrakul of the Madness cost. And the rest is just looting and some other artifacts, but yeah.
That is amazing. I love it so much.
Yeah, well, I was torn between a few decks before the tournament started, and I think I made the right choice with this one. I didn't expect to get this far at all, but the deck has potential, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, I'll have to take it for a spin. I think Gran is such a sleeper card.
Yeah, I am really high on this card. Like, I think I've put it into like at least 90% of all the blue decks that I've made this season, because it loots so cleanly, and there are so many good lessons that you can easily just like you can play the quench lesson. It's just slightly worse than the energy quench, but you can also play the abandoned attachments, like the that effect. And then if you get a few of them in the yard, you get like a permanent or like semi-permanent reduction on all your non-creatures, and that is quite strong in a lot of cases. So I do love Gran a lot. Obviously, it's not so good against some matchups, but yeah.
Best flavor card of the entire Avatar set, if you ask me. Just like instant lesson. Yep. Drinking cactus juice is in fact an instant lesson.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also like that's Rough Buddy for the meme value, but yeah.
Oh, that's so true. I forget what the effect is.
Yeah, it's something irrelevant, but I just like the idea that there's a card that's called That's Rough Buddy.
Yes. They really knocked it out of the park with this one. Just like I know Universes Beyond sometimes gets flack, but just the amount of love and care that they've put into this set is palpable.
Yeah, the Avatar set also surprised me by being pretty cool in the end. Alright, I think there's one more deck in the top 8, right?
Yeah. That is
oh, right.
my Heartless Mirror deck. So that's kind of what the emojis are trying to spell. It's like no heart mirror. But
okay.
I also have a YouTube video of my run through. Maybe Tom can link it in the description of his video. And essentially, we have 8 Heartless Summoning effects now. Heartless Summoning gives creatures a 2-cost reduction, but -1/-1. Sipsig Ceremony gives creatures a 2-cost reduction, and then murders them when they come in to replace them with a 2/2. If you have a Perilous Mirror, if you have a Mirror Retriever, you can just loop the Mirror Retriever. This gives you infinite death triggers. If you have the Sipsig Ceremony, it gives you infinite 2/2s. We've got a couple of ways to abuse that, a couple of ways to find the Mirror Retrievers. But yeah, I think this deck, was really fun to play just because of how tricky the lines are. In the end, I lost the die roll to the human allies deck and just got kind of run over in games 1 and game 3. But I like this deck. I'd play it again.
Yeah, it looks pretty strong. Like I lost a few times to it, I think. But I guess when you're up against humans, especially when they have Thalia to like delay your harder summonings or stuff like that, it could be a rough matchup.
Yeah, it was, in fact. I actually think it's a fine matchup. I think it would have been okay if we have Deathmark, but instead of playing Deathmark, I had to play Heartless Act, which not so good in the humans matchup.
Yeah, I imagine
Their
they
creatures
all
have a
get
lot of
counters,
counters.
right?
Exactly. But yeah, still, very cool tournament this season. Looking amazing so far. You got any last thoughts for us?
Yeah, no, not really. It's quite late for me, so I'm a bit tired. But yeah, I think this tournament was great, and especially after the last Penny Dreadful 500, where it was a lot of like control mirrors, very long games, and these games were rather quick. Also, very cool decks to be seen, and yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the season. And yeah, thanks Violet for being with me and commentating a bit. And yeah.
For sure. Cool.